Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Max Edwards. I am the US-based sales engineer for Kakapo Systems. And today I am really excited to go over our new product, Unity Supervisor Web. Now, what I'd like to accomplish with this webinar is number one, I want to go over what Unity Supervisor Web is. We'll talk about some of the benefits of the web client. We'll do a live demonstration. Then we'll recap some of the key features and then break for question and answers. So let's go ahead and let's begin. Now, just to kind of get started, what is Unity Supervisor Web? So the Unity Supervisor Web client is the web-based version of our Supervisor Thin client. So it's Unity Supervisor in the web. More or less, it's a powerful browser-based call center management workspace. It provides supervisors, full visibility and control of call center operations. Unity Supervisor Web will also provide in-depth real-time performance information on agents and queues. And it also includes key functionalities to supercharge agent productivity as well as customer experience. Now, what are some of the benefits of the web client? So number one, the web client, you can pretty much access anywhere. It's plug and play from any computer. So with that, it basically, it also has the benefit of including flexible access, which is perfect for hybrid working environments. You can have a user logging in from one computer, one day and go into a different office the next day and log in on a different computer. The web client is also fully supported by all major browsers, including Edge, Firefox, Chrome, and Safari. And that last one, I wanted to point out Safari. The web client also brings a solution to Unity to Mac users or Apple users. And the last benefit here is we do have custom branding options available, just like all of our other clients, including creating custom URLs for the supervisor client as well. So instead of continuing to talk about it, I figure let's actually go, take a look and let's start the live demo. So let me pull this up here. So before we go over some of the key features and some of the different supervisory capabilities, I figured I'd want to just, make sure that we're all on the same page and kind of go over what we're looking at here. If you've used our Supervisor Thin client before, this should look very familiar. So starting up top here, I have my ACD agent states. So if I'm also an agent in the call center I'm supervising, I can go available, I can go unavailable and select a specific unavailable code. And just like the Thin client, all of the unavailable codes that we have available here are pulled directly from the backend on BroadSoft. So anything you've added in the, in the backend will be available here. I can also manually trigger my wrap-up as well if I'd like. I also have to the right of my ACD agent states, I have my different call control options. So I can either answer or end calls with this button, depending on the context. I can dial out from here, so I can call directly from the web client. I can transfer calls, I can put calls on hold, I can conference people in, I can enable or disable the call recording depending on how that's configured. Though as an option, we can always remove this button as well. And I can also check my voicemail. Now, down below this top part here, we have our overall queue statistics. And this section here is designed to allow you to see the queue statistics or the agent statistics that make the most sense to you in terms of managing your call centers. What's great about this section is it is fully customizable. So if I pop into my tools, go to settings, and then underneath call center, we're going to go to statistics and columns. So I mentioned there's some agent stats we can look at, and that's what the agent column refers to. So the agent column, if I'm not only a supervisor, I'm also an agent and I regularly take calls from this call center, I can add in different metrics so I can keep an eye on my total calls, how many calls I've specifically answered, how many I've missed, so on and so forth. In this example, the supervisor is really just managing the call center. They only jump in when they need to. So we're just going to pop into our call center columns here. Now, with your call center columns, you can add or remove any ones that you'd like. You can also reorder them. So if I want to move calls abandoned up a little bit, I can. If I want to get rid of total missed calls, I can go ahead and I can delete that. And I can also add in whatever additional metrics I want to see, such as total received calls. Now, the other thing I can do is I can also set different threshold values. So for instance, if I wanted to see, just glance at this column and see, get a ballpark for how many calls I've taken, all I have to do is set my thresholds appropriately. And then if I did the job of setting the thresholds correctly, you'll see them highlighted different colors based on how many calls we've received. So you can see I set that, 0 to 5 to green, 0 and 3, it's highlighted green for us, just like the abandoned calls as well. All right, excellent. So that takes care of this overall queue statistics part for now. The next thing I wanted to talk about is this middle section where it says drop person here to begin a call. So this is going to be where pretty much all the inbound action occurs, where you see all your inbound phone calls. You'll see any callers waiting in queue, any calls ringing to you. And this is also where we can perform some of our supervisory capabilities in reordering, promoting, and transferring off callers as needed. So let's go ahead and add in a couple of calls here so we can see what it looks like. Perfect. So I have 2 calls in here. Currently, one is ringing to me. This user here in position 1, I have Lucy Dickens here in position 2. So because Lucy is she's one of our VIP customers. She calls very often. We have her number saved. I'm going to go ahead and promote her so she's queued at position 1, which is now the highest priority. So all I had to do was right click and I bumped her up to position 1, so she's no longer position 2. I'm still receiving this phone call now just because it hasn't finished ringing and it hasn't bounced yet. Now, Lucy's been waiting for a little longer than I want, so in order just to make sure that she gets answered quickly, I'm going to transfer to someone who I know is available. So all I have to do is right click, go to transfer, either choose call center. In this case, I actually want to go to agent. And then all I have to do is just go ahead and click on the agent, and then we'll send that call off to that agent so they can now assist Lucy. Now, this other person has been waiting for a little while and no one else has answered them. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up just so we can go ahead and get them assisted. I talked to this client. They want to talk to one of our specialists about some, about one of our new products. So what I'm going to do here is, because I want to get this client over to one of my agents and I want to silently monitor that conversation, I'm going to right click my queue here and message all my agents and ask if someone can take this call for me. And then as soon as someone responds, I'm going to transfer that call off to them. Perfect. Thank you, Lee. I'm going to go ahead and transfer that call to Lee. So we'll blind transfer that call to him. We'll choose our disposition because I have forced disposition selected. And then now, if I wanted to monitor that conversation, so, that customer was really excited. I kind of want to hear what's going on. Lee is one of our best agents, so I want to make sure, I want to basically hear what's happening. So to silently monitor, I can go to agent activity, or since I'm already here, I'll just right click on Kakapo support again. We'll go to our agents, go to Lee, and then we have the silent monitor option here. I can do the current call, so that'll actually join me to Lee's call right now. I'll listen in silently. My mic is not live. We can do next call only, which will connect us to the next call, or we can do all calls. So you have all the same options that BroadSoft natively provides directly in here. All you have to do is just right click, and then you have those options here. Now, let's say maybe the customer's upset, something happens, or is a miscommunication. I'm silently monitoring, and now I want to barge in. All I have to do is right click on Lee, select barge into call, and then pretty much from there, I'm going to join that conversation. Both Lee and the customer can hear me. I can join and say, hey, sounds like we're having some difficulties. My name is Max. I'm the manager here. How can I assist? How can I make sure we end this conversation on a positive note? So really easy for me to basically silent monitor, manage the queue, manage inbound callers as needed, reprioritize or transfer them off. And then as we can see, it's also really easy to monitor my agents as well. Now, I was in the agent activity section before, and I'd like to go back here because there's a bunch in here I wanted to go over. So the agent activity section is really designed to help you keep an eye on what your agents are doing specifically, as well as manage them from here too. So the way you can look at it, the way we have it set up, is you can look at it by queue. So I can look at my different queues, such as my support queue. I can see all the agents within that queue, or I can also look at it by agent. So if I were to go to someone like Aaron over here, we can see the 2 queues that Aaron's a part of and his stats for those queues. Let's switch to Lee so we can see a little bit more. So you can look at it in 2 different ways. Now switching back to our queue view, the other thing is, just like your overall queue statistics, your agent activity section is also fully customizable. So I can add in different columns here. I can add in thresholds like you see for your ACD duration. And all I have to do is just go into our settings. We'll go into statistics and columns. This time we're going to go over to the agent activity section. And then from here, I'll add in something. Let's go ahead and add in ACD start. And then the other thing I want to do is, I didn't do this before, but what you can do in the queue stats or in the agent activity section is you can also customize the column heading. So instead of going with what we've listed, I can actually customize it. So now you'll see ACD start time. Now, with the different columns here, for instance, I can see the status, so I can see that Chris is on Do Not Disturb. I can see my ACD states. For my ACD durations, I basically have it highlighted, so anyone who's been in their state for a few minutes, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that green because we want our agents to handle things quickly. Anyone who's been in red, they've been in kind of their whatever state they've been in for quite a while, and anyone in gray has been in their state for a very long time. So for instance, with agent Frank over here, I can go ahead and I can sign him in, and that'll update my ACD duration for him. The other thing, the ACD start time that I added, I can go here and I can see that Aaron signed in a little over an hour ago, or I can see that Charles Berry signed in 48 hours ago. But if I wanted to know exactly what time that was, that's kind of why I added that ACD start time. It'll tell me the date as well as the time that someone went to that state, and it updates automatically. So if I were to go ahead and update Emma here from sign out to sign in, you'll see that updated from 8:17 to now 8:23 at 11:12. So it'll update and let you know exactly what's going on. As you can see here, when I was doing that, you do have the capability of updating your agent states from here. So if Frank needs to go on a comfort break and he didn't update it, I can update that for him. I can set him back to available. I can also go ahead and sign him out. The other thing that you may have noticed is we do have the capability of individually joining or unjoining agents from the queue. So I can go ahead, right click, and I can join Frank to the queue. Or if I prefer, maybe this is a backup queue that only gets used when there's really high call volume, or maybe there's a bunch of callers waiting in queue, so I just want to get all my agents in to kind of knock them out. I can click this green button over here, join all agents to the queue all at once, or I can also go ahead and I can remove them all at once as well. So it's really easy in this agent activity section to monitor your agents. You have the additional capability of instant messaging them from here, which we showed before. You can silent monitor, you can update their ACD state. You can also add in specific metrics to keep an eye on their performance. Now, just looking to the left, the 3 options here, we have voicemail. This is just going to be a voicemail section for you. It is visual voicemail style. So any voicemail messages you have will be listed in the order they're received. I can play them by clicking this little button, or I can right click to play. I can save them from here. I can delete them. I can place calls back. So maybe I listen to a message, oh, this is a client I've been meaning to get back to. Right click and call. Or if they're an internal user like Leah's, you can also instant message from here. Your call logs are exactly what they say they are. They are call logs for you. So you're going to see any missed, received, or dialed calls for the call queue as well. And then your contacts, we were taking a look at this before, but the contact section is designed to give you quick and easy visual access to up to 30 different users who you want to keep an eye on for any reason. They can be call center or non-call center users. So you can see here, I do have some people that don't have any ACD states. So it's not specific to just your call center users. Really easy to edit this. All I have to do is go ahead, right click on manage user list. If I wanted to go ahead and get rid of, Nina Harrelson, let's just say she's on vacation and Amanda's coming in to fill in for her, I can go ahead and add an Amanda. really easy to make those updates. I can also go ahead and I can change how this contact list is presented to me. So, if I go down to appearance, I prefer details just because it gives you the most information. But what I can do is, maybe I want to add in the department. So I can add in the department as well. Maybe I want to add in location. So I can add and remove all these different columns that really make the most sense for me. ACD state is a column. So if you are monitoring non-call center users, you could get rid of that. But this is also a great way to see a whole bunch of ACD states all at once. The other options you have from here for any of these users, you can call them, view their details, send them messages, or you can add them to your personal directory. Just like the thin clients, you do have a personal directory available within the web client. If I click the little drop down next to search contacts, basically I can select personal directory, see any users I have listed in there, internal or external, gives me easy access to call them. We also have access to common phone lists if there are any uploaded, as well as your different departments in your organization. And, just in case, maybe I wanted to look for someone who wasn't on here, all I have to do is go ahead and type in their name and it'll find them for me. All right, excellent. So that covers everything I wanted to go over on the live demo here. I want to switch back over to our PowerPoint and go over our key features recap. So just to recap some of the key features we went over. Number one, Unity Supervisor Web provides excellent queue management. You can promote callers and reorder and retask dynamically in response to real-time conditions, as we saw. I was able to not only promote promote a caller, so they're now position number one. I can also pick calls out and answer them myself if I want. I can transfer them off to different queues or different agents. I have lots of tools to be able to help me manage the queue, especially with those configurable thresholds and alerts that we took a look at. I have excellent agent support with Unity Supervisor Web. I'm able to silently monitor conversations. I can respond to escalations instantly with barge-in. I also have the capability of instant messaging users. If I'm silently monitoring and, maybe I'm thinking that, I don't want to barge in just yet. Let me see if I can coach my agent through this. I can instant message them and say, hey, I know the customer is upset about this. Let's try this tack. Let's see how this works. I'll be here to help you and help, coach you along with anything you need. We have deep performance tracking. And there's a wide variety of customizable statistics, as we saw, for your personal wallboard. And we're also going to be providing access to historical reports with Vision 360 as well. And then the dedicated agent activity section. It clearly visualized how agents spend their time, and we are able to customize that to show us the metrics that make the most sense and mean the most for us, including adding those thresholds as well. We also have the capability of managing their ACD states in case we need to make any changes for those users. We can silently monitor. We can also instant message them from there as well. So now that we've recapped the key features, how is Unity Supervisor Web going to help you? So number one, it's a browser-based addition to the Unity software range. It means it's fully usable as an individual solution or in collaboration with the wider Unity software range. The other thing included with that is that it's now part of the Anywhere license. The Anywhere licensing, if anyone's not familiar with that, it's our newest form of license. It allows you to have access to either the thin client or the web-based client. Whichever one you prefer on using, you can use whichever one at any point in time. It just provides that flexibility so users can work where they want and how they want. With the Supervisor Web, pretty much plug and play configuration, especially for users who are already used. Minimal training is needed, as well as minimal setup in order to utilize Unity Supervisor Web effectively. And the last and one of the most important points for me is the future-proof development. So Unity Supervisor Web and our web clients in general were created due to customer feedback, which is an integral part of our commitment to growth and our just commitment to creating the best customer experience we can. For us, as a smaller company, our customer feedback and feature requests are really important. And a lot of our great features and some of our products were designed or inspired in part by the feedback we get. So, with the Supervisor Web client and the other web clients, Any new feature requests, any additional thoughts or considerations will be fully considered because we're going to keep developing it. Basically, what you see now is just really the beginning. All right, so at this point, I've actually covered everything that I wanted to go over in terms of the formal presentation. So I'd like to invite my colleague Lee to join us for the question and answer session. So Lee, if you wouldn't mind joining us and going over any questions we may have gotten.
Hello and good morning to everybody. Yeah, we've got a couple of questions, Max. The first one, will media streams be available on the web app?
Great question. The answer is yes. We are going to be releasing all full omni-channel capability onto the web applications before the end of the year. We're currently testing it right now, but absolutely 100% all the media streams will be available on Supervisor Web shortly. Excellent question.
Lovely. Will code reporting be available in the web for Supervisor?
Yes, so with Vision 360 being launched, Vision 360 will be available directly from Unity Supervisor Web. However, we do need to add in the reporting button, but it will be available, so you'll have full access to historical reports you can run at any point in time as well as schedule. Great question.
Thank you. Last question, will the Supervisor Web integrate with CRMs?
Another excellent question. So yes, that is the goal. We do have it on our roadmap to add in CRM integrations to the web client. It's not available just yet, but not only are we going to add in the CRM integrations to the web client, we're actually expanding our CRM team, and we plan on adding to the 7 CRMs the thin clients already support. So in the not too distant future, not only will the supervisor client have full CRM functionality, there's going to be more than 7 CRMs available to choose from as well. Excellent question. Any other questions at the moment?
No, that's it. Thank you for your questions. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Well, if anyone does have any additional questions, we have a couple more moments before the the webinar is over. So we did go through the question and answer here. So if anyone does have any questions, feel free to post them and I'll get to them before we finish. But in the meantime, I did want to say if anyone is interested in any demos, if anyone's interested in pricing, wants to get information, or just wants to talk about the Supervisor Web clients anymore, or any of our other products or services, please feel free to contact either myself if you're in North America, Max Edwards, or contact my colleague Lee Fallon if you're in Europe. If you happen to be somewhere other than North America or Europe, feel free to contact either one of us and we'll make sure you get assisted, and we'll answer any questions you have, provide any demos, or assist you however we need. Perfect. Well, since we got through all the questions, that is the end of the webinar. Wanted to thank everyone for their time. I really appreciate everyone joining us today to learn a little bit more about our Supervisor Web client. Again, if anyone is interested in more information, in any demos and pricing, or anything else related to Kakapo or Unity, please feel free to contact either myself or Lee. And just wanted to thank you all again. Have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your week, and hope to see you on the next webinar. Take care and have a good one, everybody.